Welcome to Vermontitude, a collaborative effort between Great Eastern Radio, the Brattleboro Reformer, and BCTV to bring you the stories behind the stories on the topics you want to learn more about. Because there's always more, so there'll always be Vermontitude. Hosted by me, Peter Fish Case. Welcome to Vermontitude. New episodes drop every Tuesday and can be found by going to vermontitude.com, reformer.com, brattleboro.tv, and locally on Comcast Channel 1078. We come to you from our studios at the Innovation Box on Landmark Hill. I'm Peter Fish Case, and each week I cover the topics that are of concern to Windham County and the towns that reside within its borders. Today we're talking farm, Retreat Farm to be exact, with Executive Director Kristin Sullivan. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here.
All right, let's get right into it. Grafton Cheese, what's going on there?
All right, so if we can back up to 2022, Retreat Farm was really fortunate to have received a congressionally designated fund allotment through Senator Patrick Leahy's office that allowed us to purchase the Grafton Village Cheese Company facility in Brattleboro. So we did that in December 2022, and then Grafton leased the space from Retreat Farm through 2023 in the factory and through February 2024 in the retail space. Now Grafton has a new space in Proctorsville, and we encourage everybody to go and check them out up there. But we are really excited because we are going to be launching a Retreat Farm Market in what was the Grafton Village Cheese Company's cheese shop.
Okay.
So we'll have the Retreat Farm Market, and I'll tell you more about that in a second, as well as in the factory space. We're looking to build a food center. And what I mean by that is we're going to create a multi-tenant space that allows smaller producers to really, scale up and get themselves a foothold in our regional food system. We also are going to be building out a small commercial kitchen, and that's going to be for use by caterers serving the North Barn. But also, we want to build in a rental program so that people that want to level up from their home kitchen can have space to do that and start to make their own value-added food products in our food system.
Okay.
So lots going on there.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I mean, that's a huge space. I mean, I remember when it opened.
Yep.
They did a big grand opening night and got a full, complete tour. Wow. So, so there's like all the refrigerator space and all that. Are you converting all that, or are you leaving that all there?
So some of it is yet to be determined. Okay. The whole building, just to give folks a sense of the scale, it's a little over 32,000 square feet. Yeah. So it's a massive building, of which the retail is about 2,300 square feet. So that's just a little portion. Right now, we actually have our first tenants in there taking a few of the spaces to make pickles, kimchi, sauerkraut, and so on. And that's Finale Ferments. We are so excited to have such a young, vibrant, awesome, community-minded business in there. I think we don't want to rush and do something that we wish we did differently down the road.
Sure.
So,
yeah, that's fair.
Talking to a few other food producers that may use some of the space, but like in the massive refrigerator areas there that we are not currently refrigerating because we don't have, hundreds of thousands of pounds of cheese. No. We may make that into flexible use space. So it could be indoor markets or a gallery, or, the sky's really the limit. And some of what we do will be dependent on what we hear from producers in terms of what they need. So, I'm hearing a lot, folks that need freezer space. So maybe we'll build in some freezer space in part of that with the funds that we have, again, from this appropriation through Leahy's office, so which are limited. So we need to be thoughtful about how we use them.
Not a bottomless pit.
Right. I think I've got the money spent 5 ways in my mind, but we're trying to do it really thoughtfully and in a way that's going to serve food producers in our region. And in the market itself, so that's really the plan, is to launch big with this Retreat Farm Market, which will open in June. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a space that really showcases and supports our regional food system. Again, we want to highlight local producers as much as possible and those who are doing good in our community. So, those who are doing organic farming or other practices that enrich the environment, or they have stellar workplace culture where they're really, paying their employees well and developing positive workforce culture, or, doing different good things in their communities. We want to tell the stories of and support those producers. So the overall product mix is going to be really similar to what Grafton had, but where we can, we're substituting in products by makers who are in alignment with our mission and who fit this vision of what the store should be.
All right. Let's jump to the North Barn, because I know this is a project that's been a long time coming.
Yes.
And to actually see some work and it looking a little bit like a construction site when you go past it on Route 30. I'm curious to see what it looks like on the inside. Having, I think we discussed, I have a good familiarity with what goes on at Retreat Farm. So how's it going?
It's going amazingly well. I think, you always hear nightmares about construction projects that are taking so much longer than expected. And this one is remarkably on schedule. Everybody knock on wood as I say that. But we actually are looking to be substantially complete by the end of May, so that we're going to open the space up in June. And if you went in now, you would see it's opened up. It looks like a cathedral almost. It's grand and inspiring and beautiful. And their DEW and the contractors that they're working with, DEW is our construction team. They've all been phenomenal, and it's on schedule, and it looks beautiful, and it's being done with such respect, I think, for the historical character of the building. It has to be, mind you, because we are under a lot of easements. So we have historic preservation and conservation easements on huge portions of our property, right? And so we are actually subject to restrictions and regulations through the State Historic Preservation Office. So the North Barn will look from the outside very much like the North Barn has always looked.
Right.
We're not changing anything radically. The inside, we've done as much as we can to preserve the character. So, for example, there are beautiful hand-hewn beams along the roof line, along the ceiling. There's no insulation there. We didn't want to cover up those beams. So that's why everybody saw the slate being taken off the roof. And then the roof was built up. It's about 16 inches higher than it was because we added all this insulation on the outside, putting slate back so that we could preserve the character of the inside. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, it's an interesting, it's certainly an art form to get into preserving the inside and the integrity of the inside, because it's just all that. I mean, that's handcrafted. Like when we say handcrafted, that was built in a time where the only way to do that was by hand. Yep. Right.
And you can see all those tool marks, and actually one of the challenges we had was I'm saying this like I did any of it, watching it and have a lot of respect for the guys who are doing it. But, as the walls were being taken away and we could see these beams and posts exposed, a lot of them were painted. We didn't expect that. They're painted white. And so there's the question of, well, how the heck do we take this off without, ruining the character of the beam? So they've done painstaking processes to sort of take off some of the layers of paint and all of that, but you can still see the hand tool marks, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. So one of the things that Retreat Farm is known for is the events that they host all summer long, and we are coming into the summer season. Even though winter was non-existent the entire year until we get
until
into March,
spring,
right? Until spring, where it says, okay, we'll flex now. But we're coming into your signature event, which is Food Truck Roundup. When does that start?
Food Truck Roundup will start late June. I believe it's June 20th. And we'll go 10 weeks, although we're going to skip 1 week this year because 4th of July is a Thursday.
Oh.
And we don't want to compete with all the amazing fun events that are going on around town and everybody's barbecues. So we will skip that week. But otherwise, we'll have Food Truck Roundup every Thursday this summer again. Got a full slate of bands and really great food trucks, a lot of favorites coming back. And more food trucks than we were able to have last year because there were just a lot of unknowns last year with construction along Route 30. We thought construction would be starting on the North Barn. So it was a little bit smaller than last year than it had been. So it's going to be back to full size. We've got that going every week. We also are going to have several signature events this year. So instead of focusing really on concerts, we want to do concerts and other things that sort of reach different parts of our mission. So, for example, on July 6th, we're going to have a family farm day. Well, we'll have lots of different ways that people can interact with the animals, and we'll have animal education, different things happening on the farm, all related to the animals that weekend. Then on August 24th, we're going to have a bike ramble. The Retreat Farm Ramble is going to be a tour leading biking enthusiasts sort of all around town to different farms. So they can go and see, I believe, Wild Carrot, Scott Farm, different farms in our area, and then come back to Retreat Farm, have a concert and have a beer and just a real fun time. And then we're actually not going to do one in September because it's early October. October 5th, we're going to have a Fermented Foods Festival. So we are creating this in partnership with Finale Ferments and are going to celebrate all things fermented. And so, yes, that's, kimchi and sauerkraut, but also coffee and chocolate and things like that we don't necessarily think of as being fermented, but we're going to enjoy all those around harvest time.
Okay.
Kicking it all off this year, Father's Day weekend in June, with a big open house where we want everybody to come out and see everything we're up to at Retreat Farm. So we'll have the North Barn open. We're going to have the Thirsty Goat Bar operating out of the North Barn. We'll have concerts. We're going to have talks. We'll have guided hikes. We're going to have food tastings at the Retreat Farm Market. It's really going to be an opportunity to see what the heck we've been up to with these big projects, as well as how we're continuing to activate all of Retreat Farm.
Okay. So a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on. It's exciting, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess you can find out more by going, give us your website.
Retreatfarm.org. Absolutely. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Okay. So all of that, the Grafton Cheese will be up and running in June. North Barn up and running in June. Mm-hmm. Grand opening up and running in June.
Mm-hmm. Yep. June. And if anybody sees any of our staff, just bring us a cup of coffee between now and June.
and donations accepted from the Thirsty Goat as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So all right. Well, Kristin, anything else that we might have missed here?
No, I just welcome folks to come and visit. And if you have questions, because I know there's a lot going on and there's been a lot of confusion about, what the heck's happening at the cheese shop? What's going on with the animal program? Any of that, reach out to us. I am happy to talk to people. I'm happy to meet people for coffee or what beverage of choice and let you know what's going on in the farm and how you can get involved.
Outstanding. All right. It's been Kristin Sullivan. She is the executive director of Retreat Farm. Thanks for jumping on the program.
Thanks so much for having me.